Good afternoon. Uh, Uncle Ted back. Uh, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's probably impossible for us to imagine the kind of life that earlier days, an Appalachian coal miner, the kind of life he endured. Uh, I've heard stories from my grandpa and his brothers and people of his era talk about it was really bad. It was dangerous. They always was somebody losing their life in the coal mines, and by no means today is it a safe occupation. But and them men earn every dime they make today. But them earlier coal miners, they uh, they really they really dealt with a lot for no amount of money whatsoever. They depended on everything they got from the company they worked for. I mean, they the company owned the housing they lived in for most of them, the store that they shopped in, uh, and they paid them in script with their name on it to turn around and buy what they needed for their personal use from the store that the company owned. Uh, in reality, the company owned them, and they wouldn't know nothing else for them to do. It was it. There was nothing in the region at that time that they could do other than farm. But farming can only get you so much. You know, you've got to have other things that had to be bought. A coal miner in Appalachia was a different kind of breed, as tough, as rugged, and fearless, willing to face death daily in order to scratch out a life for their family back home. Crawling in water, in a darkness we know nothing of on earth, under a mountain, with nothing but a carbide light, each one knowing it could be his last day alive. He was up before light to crawl in a dark hole and come out after the light of day was over, going days without seeing the sun. He gave up his life to dig coal, to make the wealthy richer, and take himself from his family more times than not. He wasn't paid in cash, but in script that was branded with the company name that he spent in the company store. He lived in a company-owned shack that the snow would come through the cracks of the walls. And you may ask yourself, why didn't he do something else? But I ask you, what was there for him to do in Appalachia at the time, where he could at least buy flour and meal so his little ones could have bread? These big companies sucked the resources out of the land, working the people at a poverty wage and never, ever putting anything back in the region. It all left on a train, gone, nothing. If he was one of the lucky ones the mountain didn't fall in on, the black dust on his lungs made it so an elephant was sitting on his chest when he tried breathing. For the rest of his days he was left with nothing but a broke down body and a pair of useless lungs. And his family suffered, and the stress they endured was something awful. We got so many things these days to thank a coal miner for: the metal in our cars, the power to heat and light our homes. Yes, ladies, even some makeup contains coal. my granddaddy, my daddy was miners, and if you and your family was miners, I want to say thank you for the sacrifices you made. And these modern day miners, like I said before, they earn their money and they face danger on a daily. But they need to thank the miner before them for the safety that's put in to their job today. And I know we've all been critical of laws about mining, but if it wasn't for some kind of law, it would be untailing the kind of situations that people would have to work in today that was in the mining industry. And it's just hard to imagine the kind of life that the miners of old endured. And there's so many things put into place now to help prevent black lung. It's still a possibility, but you don't hear that much about it anymore. People getting it. They have the X-rays, chest X-rays, and they have dust plans put into action, and it's that would be bad to have that old black lung. And coal built this country, whether people wants to believe it or not. These people that anti-coal, this, that coal built this country. Coal fed the people of this area, and you couldn't have an America without coal. Coal was the backbone of the nation, and and when it's gone, I don't know what we'll face, or when it's done away with, or whatever. I respect coal. It fed me, it raised me, and I've bought a many a diapers for money made in the coal. Put shoes on my kids' feet, clothes on their back. I never was underground, but I worked the surface. Coal's been an important and a really important stable job in this area, and it's fed a lot of people, I guess you'd have to live here or live in areas where there's coal mining to really understand it. But I want to thank everybody that's ever been in the coal mines for the sacrifices they've made, uh, the stress they've been under, and the coal miner's wife. Boy, she was a soldier. She kept the home going, and she done a lot of praying for a man at work. He'd come home to her and to her kids. She sure was a soldier too. But this country owes a lot to coal miners. We owe a big lot to coal miners. It was on the forefront for the world wars, and this country owes a lot to the coal miner. It's sad that a lot of the, back in the day, all the stuff left here, it was sucked dry, and there wasn't nothing left here for nobody when the companies left here. But they was tough, rugged men. The Appalachian coal miner, a breed all their own.